People who love home gardening are interested to grow veggies and fruits at home. Growing tomatoes at home becomes easy when you know the right ways of growing it. Once the tomatoes begin to grow, you will feel immense pleasure in watching those baby tomatoes. In this video I will share with you about growing tomatoes indoors. In indoor gardening, usually the tomatoes are grown in small pots or containers being placed in a sunny area. After following these guidelines, you will come to know about how to grow tomatoes in pots. These guidelines are for beginners so that they don't make mistakes while planting the tomatoes. In the first step, you have to choose the right spot which receives sunlight for at least 6 hours. Without good amount of sunlight, you won't be able to grow your tomatoes. Your watering source has to be near the pots. Otherwise you have to arrange a garden hose. The pots should be placed together but should not be too close that they grate with each other. Grouping enables the roots of plants to remain shaded. You must carefully select the variety which is easily grown indoors. The container tomato varieties are carefully selected. Only go for the type that can be grown in pots, such as the determinate or the bush tomatoes. However, it is okay to select indeterminate tomatoes in pots, but you will have to provide some support and soil to them. The tomato seeds appear small initially, but once the tomato plant is grown up it requires lots of space. So the selection of tomato container size is very important. The appropriate pot size should be 18 inches in diameter for determinate tomatoes. In case of indeterminate tomatoes, the size of a pot has to be 24 inches in diameter. Container like 5 or 10-gallon container is suitable for bush or patio type tomatoes. For small pots it requires more watering. There has to be drainage holes in containers except for fabric types. Avoid black-colored plastic containers as they absorb more heat with not well for tomato plant. You have to use high-quality soil for potting and you have to avoid garden soil from plant beds. It is so because there are more chances getting diseases from microorganisms present in garden soil. It is heavy too for the containers. The soil has to be fluffy as well as light because flow of moisture and air circulation is needed by tomatoes. Planting the tomatoes rightly is the fundamental step in how to grow tomatoes in pots. Always read the instruction from the packaging when planting the tomatoes from the Bonnie's biodegradable pots. Dig a deep hole so the maximum space is given to root growth. For cold night you should cover them with frost blankets. On planting every tomato you have to add support. A supporting cage is needed for the determinate types, and if you get to insert support then the plant will not grow rightly. An open framework that is string trellis is chosen for indeterminate tomatoes. You can also make cage yourself using hog wire into cylinder shape. Wire is to be used to join the ends. The framework is to be carefully adjusted along the pot exterior. Finally, you have to secure it with poles for an extra strength. While you plant the tomatoes in pots, always be careful that the soil should be 1 inch below the edge of pot. That 1 inch will be covered with mulch to keep the soil moistened. Go for traditional mulch such as shredded bark, shredded leaves or straw. Refresh the mulch layers from time to time, especially in hot climates, so that the plants remain healthy and refreshing. Watering the tomato plant often is the key as it keeps the soil moist. People ask how often should I water my tomato plants in pots, and they should know that during hot summer days daily watering should be done. In normal days you have to test with your finger, and if on pushing with finger the soil is dry and it means it needs watering. It is a good idea to place saucer below the pots so that they provide extra moisture to plant when needed. When the water is not provided frequently, then the roots will dry out and your plant will not sustain longer. Also observe the plant's roots when watering. If you have grown the whole crop of tomatoes, then go for drip irrigation system to water the plants. Initially you should use fertilizer such as continuous release to give the plant a nice start. After that, liquid plant food should be given to tomato plants weekly. Once the flowers have formed, then the liquid plant food should be given for the entire season. Follow the instruction on the packaging. Growing tomatoes in pots. Pruning is not compulsory for determinate tomatoes. Cleaning for pots must be done after each season. To use the pots again, they must be cleaned well, otherwise there are chances of diseases in the plants that you grow the next season. Scrub the soil, or you can spray with solution having 10 parts of water and 1 part of bleach. If you plan to grow anything else, then eggplants or tomato peppers are a good idea. Use fresh soil in every seasonal planting. Thanks for watching.